Hello guys, welcome back to Inside the Forge. Today we are forging a Bowie knife, and right now I am just knocking down all the aggressive edges because for this knife I do not need a cheese grater pretty much on the side. It'll just ruin my knuckles if I try to hold the blade. So we're just gonna, I guess you would call it, beat down the rough ends. So I do this several heats off screen also. It took about 5 heats on the whole piece like this to get it all where I wanted to. And you basically just beat it down. That's all you can do. Or you can leave it, and like I said, you can basically ruin your knuckles. Or if it's a kitchen knife, it can be a cheese grater. I'm not even joking about that. I'm making this out of a horse rasp, by the way. So here's my my layout plan for myself, basically. So I'm just going to start laying in my marks. I try doing it on the horn, but eventually I'll go over to the side of the anvil and I end up hitting it on the edges, as you'll see here in just a second. And I try to get the first few marks. I've got a few here, but I really need deep marks. So I'll go in and do that. And I had to change anvils because some of the men at this blacksmith meet were wanting to make a hammer, and they needed the big old Bertha, as we call it, anvil. So now I'm just going to take a well-rounded straight peen. The peen in and of itself is very, very round, so I'm going to start forming in that where your index finger would point, pointer finger, where your pointer finger would rest on the Bowie knife. So I'm working on that end now. And here in a bit I'll start tapering back the other one, as you can see there. I'm trying to get that as an end result. I lack it a little bit in this knife, but it all came out okay, and if I wanted to do more grinding in the later parts of this video series, I can still true it up. So now I'm just going to start rounding off where I hit, because obviously it's going to be all dinged up. Make it more friendly to my hand. And now I'm going to start working back that bit, because got enough heat to get another start mark. And I'm just going to continue like I did. Start hitting it, working it down. Basically just doing the same thing here, just drawing it all out to where I want it, like I had drawn out earlier. Now I'm going to start rounding off the back. That ends up getting all that ugly, and there ends up getting taken out and grinding later in the video, though I do it off screen. Throwing up some spots, and I will go in for a heat here in a second. Now, when you forge these blades, the little bit I know is you definitely do not want slag on your video, well, definitely not on video if you're making a knife, but you don't want all this scale, slag, whatever you want to call it. It's scale in blacksmithing, but all these impurities, oxide metal, you don't want that going back into your steel, or else it will mess with it. Now I've got to address this fish slipping here, or that will be a major problem. I'm sure a lot of you knife makers are cringing at the fact of how I'm trying to do this point. A knife maker just so happened to be in the blacksmith shop that day, and he showed me how to draw at this point later in the video. And here I'm just going to be off screen for a while. I'm having to check my metal, and now I am getting my tongs adjusted where I can hold it with a hand. And I started trying to work this down the only way that I knew how. And it didn't turn out too good when I was doing it. When the Bladesmith helped me out, it was 2 times easier. And I got to watch him do it, so quite amazing, actually. You'll see a clip of him here in just a second. So I'm starting to get somewhere with my point. I've got it at least roughed out, but when he comes along here in a bit, it's going to go a lot quicker, and you can see I've made some progress. So I didn't change too much up because I knew I was making progress. In my teenager mind, I was thinking progress equals right, but obviously it didn't, or else I wouldn't have gotten pulled aside and given help. So I don't tap dance, but here I apparently learned how to count to 3 and how to tap dance with a hammer. So I'm just getting a good heat on this so I can lay in my point again. Not much to add to the conversation here except poking fun at my own self for the warped look of the metal. So again, this is my first Bowie knife. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm hitting the steel way too cold. I knew that. I'm just trying to save time on work, but several bladesmiths in there said, "Don't you do that. Those files are so brittle." They're not funny. I didn't realize how brittle they were until they told me. So eventually I do stop this, because this is a big no-no here. I'm lucky that the tip didn't just shatter on me. I don't know what that meant. All right, so here's him. He's telling me to put it over the edge. And it's actually drawing down the point quicker. I don't know if you can see in this angle, but you'll see it here in a bit. I didn't do anything else to the point except what he did. You can see it's drawing it out a lot quicker. If you notice, he's coming in at an angle with the hammer, and I'm holding it at an angle on the forge. So, see it got roughed in there? He's going to hit it again. And this draws out the point magnificently. I got trued up in grinding, of course, but all right, see? Then he addresses the little bit of fish slipping that he had. It's basically when material folds over on his head. Now he's going to do the bevels for me and show me one side. And I'm over here watching intently. You can see the metal actually spread a bit when the sun's not glaring into the anvil. It's really visible in the beginning, but you'll see it start to wear thinner. That's pretty much the goal of hot beveling, I guess what you'd call it. But it helps you in grinding. You can actually see where he's been hitting on this side here when he flips it over. So I'm going to work on this next side, and it comes out rather nice. So here I am figuring out what the heck I'm doing. Can't really tell because again the sun was really on me. So I had an open door right there. But I'm essentially doing the same thing. Really being careful around my edge because that, and right there I mishit or something, so I'm trying to take that out. And also trying to keep the material around it very even to where I mishit and having to thin it out even more. I've pretty much got it roughed out here. I work a little bit on it off camera, but for the most part I do most of the beveling and grinding.